The Ukrainian armed forces continued to pressure Kherson, but the Russian invaders kept the front line steady. This follows from the report of the southern speaker of the Operations Command, Vladislav Nazarov, on October 18. The enemy is on the defensive and is trying to defend the lines it occupies. Vladislav Nazarov, unlike his usual practice, did not mention the number of our rocket and artillery strikes against the enemy. It was probably relatively small. But he pointed out that our planes carried out 5 times more attacks than the enemy, 15 against 3. That's fine, but aviation plays a secondary role in this war. Only confirmed losses of the aggressor amounted to 84 invaders, 152 mm self-propelled artillery Akatsiya and Msta-S, a tank, 3 ammunition depots in the Berislavsky district of the Kherson region and in Bashtansky Nikolaevskaya, 3 armored units and automotive vehicles. Meanwhile, over the past 18 hours, Ukrainian aviation confirmed the destruction of 13 concentrations of weapons and military equipment, 7 positions of anti-aircraft missile systems and strongholds of the Russian invaders. This was announced in the evening summary on the page of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine on the social network Facebook by its speaker Oleksandr Shtupun. In turn, the Telegram channel Operational ZSU shows the work of the small aircraft of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, an underbarrel payload or automatic heavy grenade launcher, VOG, dropped by a quadrocopter, destroying the enemy's BMP-2 infantry fighting vehicle into garbage. The video presented was filmed by the UAV itself, the operator who actually dropped the VOG directly into the BMP's open hatch. The internal explosion triggered the BMP's own ammunition detonation, which tore through the vehicle. If VOG explodes at the top of the armor, it won't do much BMP damage. On the last day, our defenders repelled attacks by Russian invaders in the Ogurtsovo district on the border with the Russian Federation in the north of Kharkov, Dvuriknaya in the northeast of the Kharkov region, Belagorovka in the Luhansk region, Otradovka and Opigny in the south of Bakhmut, Mayorsk, and New York near Grilovka. But the density of fighting was greatest near Donetsk, where Ukrainian troops fought enemy attacks at Novokalinovka, Nevelskoye, Mariinka, and Novomikhailovka. This was announced in a morning report on the Facebook page of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine by its speaker Oleksandr Shtupun. Meanwhile, the Telegram channel Operation ZSU shows a video in which soldiers from the 66th Separate Mechanized Brigade of the Ukrainian Armed Forces in the north of the Donetsk region, showing that in the direction of Lyman, destroy Kodlo-Rusnya, clearly a deployment with ammunition depots, or with armored vehicles with their own ammunition. At first, it just burned vigorously here, and then exploded vigorously. Meanwhile, the situation in the Luhansk region is complicated, but it is controlled by the armed forces. The invaders are constantly trying to carry out a frontal attack on our military positions in the Svetovo region. In contrast, important R-66 logistics routes are controlled by Ukrainian artillery in certain areas. This was reported by Oleksandr Kovalenko, a political military observer of the group Information Resistance. According to his information, some time ago, a number of these arterial locations were under the full control of our artillery. That is, it becomes impossible for the invaders to move safely. However, the expert confirms that fire control is not yet physical. Analysts also note that Russia has accumulated significant resources for the defense of Svatov and Kremenaya, enough for even offensive attacks. But in the end, the past week and a half, they have mainly been engaged in the utilization of these resources. The BT-Dur of the enemy's 1st Guards tank army is currently being replenished with living materials in the Nizhny Duvanka area and north of Svetovo in intensive and intensive modes. And 2 armored personnel carriers of the 27th Motorized Rifle Brigade and 1 semi-equipped armored personnel carrier of the 47th Tank Division, reinforced by the Wagners, tried to prevent the advance of the armed forces in the northwest of Svetovo. This task was currently assigned to them with considerable difficulty. For example, in the direction of Terny, the local Russian command threw 1 to 2 infantry platoons into a frontal assault for at least 5 days in a row, and all from the same line and in the same direction from Zhitlivka, and all for the sake of setting up a defensive line along the Zherbets River. The result is not a line or resistance used to attack, concluded the expert. According to the War Monitor project, on October 18, Russian troops resumed their counterattack west of the Kremenaya. The main purpose of this attack was to gain time to strengthen the defensive line, as well as try to disrupt the formation of the Ukrainian attack group. We will remind you that since the beginning of the full-scale invasion of the Russian Federation into Ukraine, the occupying forces have lost more than 66,000 troops, as well as about 2,554 tanks.